Welcome back to my cozy corner of the internet. I'm Mayastar, and this is the Mayastar Podcast. I teach energy healing courses online through Mayastar Academy, share spiritual guidance and mystical musings on the Maya Muses blog, and provide healing, ritual, and spellcasting services. As a star-seeded shaman and professional witch, on the Mayastar Podcast, I release articles, discussions, and energy updates every week, covering energy healing, spiritual awakening, lightworkers, starseeds, magic, and New Age spirituality. This episode is being re-released with upgraded audio and new cover art to coincide with the launch of the new Mayastar Podcast YouTube channel. Please check it out and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of the new content coming soon. And welcome back to my cozy corner of the internet. I'm Mayastar, and today we have another unscripted video where we'll be looking at the updates for Mayastar, talking about Mary Magdalene's inner temple empowerment, and covering some questions regarding energy healing. I come armed with notes, but we'll be taking the scenic route, and with these unscripted episodes, things are supposed to just unfold naturally, so we'll see where it takes us. I hope you'll come along and bear with me. But before I start this week's video, I need to apologise for the position of the mic in last week's video. I didn't realise until I was editing it, but it was right in front of my face and it looked kind of weird. If you noticed it, I apologise. I've sorted it out this time. And as you can see, I haven't managed to sort out the scarf situation behind me, but the lighting seems reasonable, so bear with that as well. Not very professional. I know that the time will come when I have to invest in a different bulb, but I do think now that it's not the lamp that's the problem, it's the mirror behind the lamp that's the problem. So I may have to do some more experiments and see if I can wangle that a little bit better. Okay, so let's have a look at Mary Magdalene's Inner Temple Empowerment. Now, this is a course that I channeled as part of the Emissaries of the Light series, which were channeled in 2019 and 2020. And all of those courses were really designed to help students to connect with those archetypes in a variety of ways. So working with energy healing techniques and simple visualization techniques that could be used during other spiritual practices, like during yoga, yin yoga. It's particularly good for combining with energy work, because that's where you're holding poses for longer periods, so it lends itself to combining well with energy work. So you could easily use the visualization technique as part of your regular meditation, or, as I say, combining in yoga. But you can also use the manuals and the correspondences that were included to help you develop your own routines and rituals that will awaken those archetypes for you as part of your day-to-day life. As I'm always saying, that's one of my main things that I want to teach, is that you don't have to keep your energy work separate from your mundane life. you can take your practice with you. And there are different ways to do that. But that's where I leave off teaching, and you have to experiment for yourself and find out what works for you. So I suggest symbols that you can work with, and I suggest things like plants and oils and animals and different correspondences that you might want to work with as a way to amplify the energetic current that you're connecting with whatever that particular system is. So with the Mary Magdalene's inner temple empowerment, you're connecting with the divine feminine energy, which is a reflection of the yin energetic current. And although we call it feminine, it's not tied to our social expectations of what it is to be female. This is to do with the spiritual energetic currents, and all people contain both yin and yang energy, represented as masculine and feminine, but much more than that. They are much more than that. And so as we work with spiritual energies, it's important that we find balance by working with both types of energy. And there's often a bit of a deficit when it comes to the feminine energetic current because of the way the world is organized and the way power is held and passed on in our world is very much centered around masculine principles. So many people feel drawn to feminine energetic principles to explore the nature of feminine power as an antidote to what may be perceived as an imbalance with the current expression of energy in our world. So that's one thing that I wanted to emphasize, is that Mary Magdalene's inner temple empowerment isn't just for women. Working with divine feminine energy is not something that is just for women. It's important that men work with it too, because when the divine feminine energy is activated and those archetypes are represented within your energy field, they become expressed in subtle ways, but they become expressed through the way you live your life. And when we look at the structures of power in the world today, we don't see much balance. We see the expression of the masculine form of power, but not so much the feminine. And so it's important for men to also align with those archetypes so that the kind of power they're able to express is more balanced and complete, so that it's properly integrated, and that way the expressions of power can become opportunities for healing. A greater emphasis is placed on nurturing and caring and creativity, spirituality. These are areas that tend to be neglected, so it can be very powerful to tap into those archetypes and align with those principles for yourself and see what it means to you as well, and the way that you live your life, your experience of power, and any areas in your energy field that you feel have become compromised, where you may have taken on the imprints of the energy expressed in the world around you. By connecting with the divine feminine energy current, it will shine a light on those areas that need some extra work, and also inspire you with new ways to express your healing potential. For me, I find that dance is very important when working with Mary Magdalene. It's a big part of my spiritual practice. I use it during meditations and, of course, during my ritual work for spells for people and the tantric shamanic workings that I provide through Maya Magical. Many of those rituals were originally developed with quite overblown poetry because that's what I like. So I would write quite extensively and then put that together as part of the ritual. But because of my autism, there are times when I'm really not in the mood for talking and making a lot of noise. So I also choreographed dances that expressed the invocations so that I can use a combination of those things. So when working in the temple, I use a combination of different techniques which I use together, but dance is a very important one for me when it comes to connecting with divine feminine energy and expressing that energy, because I feel that doing some sort of physical activity really helps you to ground the energy. So I would definitely recommend that as a possibility for this current. So one of the questions here is, what is an ascended master? And the reason I'm choosing to address this question in the context of this video is because Mary Magdalene is one of the ascended masters. So an ascended master is a spiritual person who has ascended to a higher level of existence. Now, they may have undergone a normal human life and death experience, but their work lives on, and we are able to connect with them in order to progress the healing journey, and they can provide us with support and inspiration on our individual path. It's a way of connecting with spiritual guides without deferring to deities. I like to think of the ascended masters as being like human angels, where angels haven't actually been human. So some people find that when they connect with angels, they find them a little bit alien and a little bit too subtle, ungrounded even. They can, like, some people can find it overwhelming to connect with those energies because it's so far beyond them. Whereas ascended masters, because they have been human, are able to reach out to us in different ways. They understand our experiences more, and they can offer us practical advice as well as the spiritual support that we're looking for. And Mary Magdalene is an ascended master in that sense. It's considered that she worked as the high priestess to teach the ministry of Jesus, or Yeshua as he's often called by those who connect with him as an ascended master rather than as a deity or a messiah, depending on the mythology that you subscribe to. If you perceive Jesus as an ascended master, then you can understand why Mary Magdalene would also be an ascended master, because she is credited with working very closely with him and even being the first to see him after he rose from the dead. So that gives her a very special position, which isn't emphasized by the church, but which is something that is becoming increasingly important to many New Agers and energy healers, because connection with that divine feminine energy is needed to restore the balance of expressed power in the world. So an ascended master is essentially an evolved soul who then helps and supports the other souls that are following along behind. So it's like a light worker, but on the other side. And Mary Magdalene is a very nurturing force to come into contact with. She has a very caring energy, and it's also very earthy. It's a very grounded kind of energy. And again, that brings me back to the fact that I use dance to connect with her. I do definitely feel that some sort of physical activity helps. So, I mean, even yoga or something like that, rather than just sitting silently in meditation. I feel like bringing some physical energy to occupy your physical body can help you sometimes, not only to connect with those high frequencies, but to ground them into your physical body. Another way to assist that is to work with systems like the Avalonian Trilogy, which is a meditation system essentially, but it's very versatile in the way it can be used, because you work with symbols and mantras and different visualizations in order to activate those energies, to activate the 9 energy centers, or star centers as they're called in that tradition, in order to bring healing as well as progress your spiritual development journey. And I think that's a particularly useful technique because it does allow you to work with visualization, it does allow you to work with mantras, and you can experiment to see which techniques work best for you, which you find combine well together, and you can develop your own unique way of working with that energy. So that's a good option. Where did I get onto that? I feel like I went off topic there. Anyway, like I said, we're taking the scenic route, so there you go. If you look out on your left, you'll see the Avalonian Trilogy. Now let's get back to the main road. So what's my next question? The next question doesn't necessarily only apply to Mary Magdalene's inner temple, although the question came to me from a student inquiring about this particular course. They were asking if the attunement could be repeated. They were looking to purchase it a second time because they felt that the first time they didn't really have the time to dedicate to working with it straight after the attunement, and so they just didn't feel properly connected. Now, what I would say about that is the chances are that on an energetic level you did receive the attunement and you are connected to the energy, but it can be problematic for your conscious mind if you feel that the attunement wasn't properly completed or the energy wasn't properly activated. That can create a mental block, and if you feel that that's the problem that you're facing, then repurchasing would be a good idea. So you can be reattuned, you can go through the entire process again and send that message to your conscious mind that you are now connected with these energies and they are integrated into your energy field. So you can begin to work with them and express them in a more intense way and experience those energies as they are reflected back to you from the world. So you become you're increasing your awareness, and your conscious mind can be a block to that. So yes, repeating an attunement is not a problem, although technically it's probably not necessary. If you feel that you want to, there's absolutely no problem with that at all. And I have had students that really enjoy a particular course find the energy attunements themselves act as like a healing intensive for them, and then choose to repurchase the course on a semi-regular basis to be reattuned as a small healing intensive. So that, yeah, there's nothing to stop you. I certainly don't mind repeating attunements for people. Okay, the next question is from somebody who identifies as an empath and has problems managing their energy. They feel vulnerable when they're around a lot of people. They pick up other people's energy too easily. And they were inquiring as to whether Mary Magdalene's inner temple empowerment would be a good option to help them learn to manage it. My response was that yes, it would. If that's what you feel drawn to, then I would recommend you trust your intuition over my advice. Your intuition is the superior guide in that situation. And like if somebody contacted me and they were looking for a system that was going to help them protect their energy and manage their gift of empathy, which can be challenging, especially as you're trying to develop your spiritual gifts. You're increasing your sensitivity, so you need to at the same time be learning how to ground and protect your energy so that you don't end up too sensitive. You're able to manage it as you go along. And systems that I would usually recommend for managing your energy are the Dark Moon Mother Protection course, Light Sanctuary Activation course, Archangel Gabriel's Empath Encoding, Archangel Michael's Sapphire Flame, and the Elemental Pentagram and Magic Circle Empowerments course. And each of those courses teaches different techniques for protecting and grounding your energy. And so that, you can work with any of those systems, and any of those would help you. And I would say that Mary Magdalene's Inner Temple Empowerment could be a good addition to that, because, as I said before, the energy can feel quite earthy. It can feel quite grounding. And that's a very good thing when you're trying to balance out your spiritual gifts, properly integrate them. Because if you don't integrate those gifts, you can increase your perception of higher spiritual planes and your sensitivity to subtle energy, so you can start to perceive those energies in the world around you more easily. But you may not be able to use them for healing if you haven't properly grounded yourself, because they can't become assimilated into your system. When we connect with high frequency energies, we have to do it through the filter of our light body, and that allows us to sort of transform it down a bit, transform the vibration down into something that we can properly perceive and work with. And when we're able to connect with it in that way and ground it into the body, it can help us to effect healing. If, on the other hand, your light body isn't balanced properly, like the higher chakras are more active and open than the lower chakras, you can only bring the energy in so far. It cannot be integrated. You may perceive it well, but you can't ground it and use it and work with it for healing, for magic, for creating something that's inspired by your spirituality. you need to make sure that you are balanced. So I would say that yes, Mary Magdalene's energy would be good in that sense. And if you feel drawn to her, then the chances are you're being drawn to her for a reason. And it may be that by receiving the Mary Magdalene's inner temple empowerment attunement, you're able to perceive more clearly your connection with her and any messages that she brings to you, any guidance and special support that she may have to help you on your path. So yes, go with what your intuition says. Go with that before you go with what I say. I'm not here pretending to be a guru or anything. I'm here teaching you how to be your own guru. And that's all my questions. So now I'm going to cover the general updates. We've already established what the special offer is. So let's talk about the meditation I'm making for this one. I'm still, at the time of recording this, I'm quite early in the process. I've got the basic music laid down. I've still got to record some vocal tracks to go onto it, which will happen over the next couple of days, and then there'll be a couple of days of mixing it all. But the energy of this one, I used a different time signature. I wanted to make it in waltz time so that it was more, I find waltz time more of a flowing energy, and that's what I wanted to bring to this meditation. I'm not sure if I'm quite there yet with the mixing, but that's what I'm aiming for at this point. And I also felt drawn to bring in some wooden instruments to emphasize that grounded vibration, as well as some shakers and rattles, which for me represent higher frequencies and balance out the sound. So it sort of keeps your mind interested. I think something I'm starting to find with my meditations now is that when I've been listening to one of them for about 20 minutes, it sounds more like music than when I started. Often when I first put it on, I think, oh no, there's too much going on here. I think I've done too much. I need to take a bit of this out. And then I'll be listening to it, trying to work out what I want to change. And after about 10 minutes, I'm thinking, oh no, this is sort of how I wanted it. I could do with that drum needs taking up a bit, and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's weird how your mind can tune into sounds. When you first put it on, you probably notice the drum beat more than anything. And then after a while, you start noticing other elements of the sound. It's just weird how your mind works. So look out for that. Or listen out for that. I always say look out for that, don't I? Okay. And in the other news, well, the only other real news at the moment is that the temple is very busy right now. And I'm working quite a lot with a few clients at the moment on other intensives that are running during the month. So that the Yggdrasil intensive is becoming quite popular, and that one includes connection with all of the ancient Norse runes. So that's a series of 24 rituals, each with an energy transmission that the recipient calls in the same way that you would call in an energy attunement for one of the attunement courses. And then you just relax and let the energy flow. And it can take the form of a healing transmission if that's what the recipient wants, or it can be focused as a way to awaken those archetypes within the light body. And each of the 24 runes represents a different type of energy, a different energetic current. that can be awakened within your light body and allow you to fine-tune your energy practice as you become familiar with the subtleties of those different frequencies. And also the runes can be used for divination, for magic, for meditation. They're very versatile, so that's a very popular option, and one that works very well at this time of year when the energies are so intense. And they really are. At every solstice and equinox, I get a flurry of people taking the Yggdrasil intensive, because I think people can feel it when the energies are supportive of that kind of development work, because working with the runes can be quite an intense experience. That you're connecting with a lot of different energies, and you need to learn to ground all of them, sort of thing. So it's like, it's really going to help you to learn to ground yourself, completing a series of rituals to align with the runes. So 24 times you'll be receiving that energy, integrating it and grounding it, which is a great way of teaching yourself how to stay grounded while working with those high frequency energies. And a good portion of that grounding is actually done while we're asleep. So if you're new to spiritual work and you're new to working with subtle energy, that can be a good way to help you learn to ground it, by receiving your attunements or energy transmissions if you're taking a magical intensive from me, but by receiving them at night before you go to sleep, so that after you've completed the attunement process, you can then go to sleep with the intention that those energies will be grounded overnight. And then you can also finish that off in the morning with the grounding visualization, which you find in the Book of Inspiration, which is provided with all of my courses. That's my ebook for anyone who doesn't already know. And the Book of Inspiration it's 180 pages, and it includes a number of essays that I've written over the years that cover different aspects of energy healing, but also give you an overview of energy anatomy and the importance of meditation, the origins of attunement-based energy healing courses and that kind of thing. It gives you an overview so that whatever course you're studying, you always get a lot of context with it. You have more of an understanding of how it can fit in with your existing practice. And I think that's everything we had to cover today. I hope it wasn't too woolly for you. I hope I didn't go off on too many tangents. And I hope you found it interesting. If you did, please leave us a like and share the video if you can, because that really helps. The more people watch it when it first comes out, the more YouTube or wherever you watch the podcast, listen to the podcast even, the more it gets recommended. So if you enjoyed it, let the algorithm know. Let me know in the comments, and let the algorithm know by liking it or following me. And it doesn't cost you anything, and I'll be really, really happy. And look out on Wednesday, because you'll be seeing this video on a Saturday, and on Monday you'll get the energy update, and then on Wednesday the new meditation will be out. And also, don't forget to check the lives tab on the Mayastar YouTube channel, so you can find the looped live streams of all the latest meditations with the ambient mixes, and 12-hour looped live streams that work really well if you need background music overnight, or if you want to have background music to listen to while you're working, reading, meditating, performing or developing rituals, or even dancing. If you like to do if you do dance drills, if you do ballet or anything like that, having really slow music to dance to can really help you to perfect your technique. So if you are a dancer, I actually recommend dancing to these tracks as well. I do, but I'm kind of biased. Yeah, so check out the looped live streams, and I hope they will create a lovely mystical and magical backdrop to your day. And I'm off now, but I'll be back in a week, and I hope you'll come back too. And in the meantime, I wish you peace, prosperity, and progress in all you do. With blessings.